Unmute myself.
Well, hello, everyone. It is time for a real special broadcast today, and I'm going to try and wrangle these guys for a little bit and act as a moderator. Oh, we're just getting somebody but new in. I think it's Dimitri. Let's wait for him to get on and screen.
Hey
Yeah.
guys.
Hello. We
Hang
don't see
on.
your picture yet, though. Your camera's not
Yeah,
on.
you have to show
Uh,
activate
It's
video.
coming.
There he
There
is.
you
There he is.
go.
Oh
There
yeah,
he
we
is.
got a big quorum. So hello everybody. So now you're seeing the faces of your administrators. So what I'm going to do first is ask everybody to introduce themselves and wave when you introduce yourself and tell us what hometown you are. Starting from the top left there, Chris.
I'm Chris. I'm from Rochester in Kent, in Great Britain. Formerly of South London,
There you go.
hence the accent that I've just been ripped the shit out of. Thank you.
How about you, Krister? Wave,
All
wave.
right, I'm Christer. I'm sitting in Sweden, and I live in the little town of Orrefors, famous for glassware. If you go into a fine store to look for glassware, you'll find Orrefors glass, and that's what they are making here in this town. Yeah, southern part of Sweden.
Next, Dimitri.
Hey guys, I'm Dimitri. I'm in Montreal, Canada. I'm actually sitting in Quebec City today, but I'm out of Montreal.
And the other thing is you're a Syndeo sponsor, right?
Yes, I am. I am. Yeah.
Still working too, right?
That's my claim to fame. Yeah, that's it.
And you're still working though, right?
Yes, I am.
All right, next.
Hello, I'm Jeremy. I'm from Montreal, and I'm the one always bothering you, asking you to be safe during lap one.
I'll do myself. I'm next. Everybody knows me, Mike Meleskie from Edmonton, Alberta. I say that often enough. And last but not least,
Tom Renier. I'm from Canada. Today I'm in Port Stanley, working on the house.
normally though,
Kamoka.
Kamoka, Ontario, Canada. Right. All right. So I thought just to get things fun to start with, I'm going to go back to Jeremy. How did you
Yes.
ever think we'd be in season 18 when you started this?
Wow. No, I was hoping it will take off and last a long time, but season 18 it's amazing, and yeah, I'm very proud of everything, and I think it's all of you guys, it's all the drivers, it's admin, it's organizing everything that made it last that long. It's amazing.
All right. So I thought I'd do something interesting. I'm going to go back to, and I'll show it on the screen right now. Back to season 6. Season
Wow.
6. Yeah, that was the
Well, I thought you
last.
were gonna go to season 1.
Well, no, this was the last one on the first one on SimGrid, and this is group. Let me see what this is. Group 1 GT3 in ACC. So look who won the season. John Saunders, and I'm just going to go over who won Group 1 this year. Chris, you won Group 1. Steve Young was second. Andrew Lloyd was third, but I added Murchie because he was fourth. And look at this, season 6, Murchie was also fourth.
Oh boy.
Now, Chris, you don't look so good. You were in 7, but you had some did not starts. Yeah.
I may have had surgery then, I'm not sure.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Look how close it was. I remember that season now. Wasn't there something about that last race?
Oh no, there's Lamborghini. Yeah, I think that wasn't a good season.
Oh, that was Lamborghini also. Yeah. Look at that. Look at that. It won by 6 points. Saunders against Chris.
Yeah.
That was an
Yeah.
interesting final race, wasn't it? I remember.
Yeah, I believe it was Laguna Seca, and some of the leaders really made huge mistakes during the race, I believe.
Yeah,
And
because look
the
at that,
outcome
Chris.
was-
Oh, that's right. Look at Chris was 10th. Yeah.
Yeah.
He had a problem. Yeah. But John certainly had a nice. He had a nice even season, first, seconds, and thirds. All right, so now let's go to group 2. I'll scroll down so people who are watching can see where they were back then. There's Steve Hollows. There's Krister. You were 14th. Where did you end up, Jeremy? Were you in Group 1?
I'm forever
Oh.
mid-pack.
Yeah, mid-pack. Okay, now let's go to Group 2. Let's back up here. And Group 2 is over here. Group 2, Season 6.
So everyone on the stream, can you hear us? Can you just confirm on the chat? Just checking.
There is
As always, I'm looking for my food to be dished up. So I'm like, got my eyes on the kitchen.
There's Don. So in Group 2, it was Don Queen, who hasn't raced with us for a while. Look at the. I didn't forgot to look at that for the other one, but look at the cars for this season. Audis, remember that? That was a long time ago. Audi's top 4.
Lexus, yeah.
Radislav, he doesn't race with us anymore.
Used to drive an Audi.
Hopkins. Did you? Yeah. So Group 2 this year, Bruce Hopkins won, Danielle Britos was second, and Brian Banks was third. Look where Brian Banks was way back then. He has improved big time. Look at that. He was in
Oh, yeah,
16th.
major, yes.
Yeah. Look at that. And he raced almost every race, too. Where did Danny Britos end up? Where was Britos?
Yeah, Daniel Britos also is,
There he is.
someone who improved in
Ninth.
a major way.
Yeah, 9th.
Yeah.
Yeah, look at it. He had all sorts of weird
Yes.
finishes, yeah.
Yeah, I always comment that on when I commentate is that Daniel Britos, one of those guys that are really improved. So it's
No,
great to see.
And Bruce was third. He's still look at that. He had all firsts and seconds except for a couple of did not starts. Yeah, so he would have been up there if he had a. And how close was it? 5:46, 6:03. I got to give Richard McKay some shots here. Look at that. He was fourth. He's not fourth in the current season. He hasn't practiced much. That's why Richard is back there. All right. So that was that. Let me get rid of that. Get us back on stream.
I always say you get out what you put in.
Very
Yeah.
true.
I tell the wife that as well. Sorry.
Okay, so what we're gonna talk about. Hey, Jeremy, maybe I go back to you and say, what's it take for to keep this going in terms of? I know we'll talk about stewarding after that, but besides stewarding, what does it take to run this league?
Well, I believe it takes a strong admin, people devoted, and this is the main ingredient. That's what I said before. You cannot run something like this alone, so I believe we have a strong admin, people with different qualities. You a streamer, Mike. Krister is a streamer as well, but Krister has many talents within the league. He's also a steward. He's a graphic artist. He does so. You have Chris Bourne also help with stewarding. Thomas the same. So Dimitri as well. So it's like people who are willing to invest their time to make sure this runs properly.
So the primary responsibility is like Krister, you're responsible for the SimGrid stuff, right?
Right. So I set that up, and it's not as complicated as now we I kind of just copy the seasons. It's a little bit easier, but
Yeah.
you just change the tracks and stuff. But it's a great system. It's really nice to work in, and they have improved it. So
Now, once you set it up, is there much maintenance along the way during the season, except for adding people and?
now you go in after, because the penalties we use now are it's points that you get against your tally in the race. So if you made 30 points based on your position, you get a penalty for 5. I go in and deduct 5. I have to do that before confirming the race, because once you have confirmed the race, all the calculations are made and they are then set in stone. So that's why there is a little time lag between the race and when you see that the race have been confirmed, because then we go through the stewarding process.
When it's not confirmed,
Yes, sir.
when we go into SimGrid, if it's not confirmed, do we actually see it in the standings or not?
Yeah, you see, but there's a note. If you go into the standing, you might see a note that says that they are not the final standings. Something like that. There's some text.
Okay.
Yeah, one thing regarding SimGrid, it's amazing with LMU as well. Actually, it's very simple with LMU because it's integrated to LMU. ACC is different. Each time we have a championship race over, I have to import quality results and race results and bring them into SimGrid. So with LMU, it's completely different. LMU SimGrid does it automatically with LMU. It's imported directly into the results. It's very easy to manage.
Okay, that's good. Anything else on SimGrid? Good. We're using a different point system in LMU than we are in ACC, right?
Yeah, I'm changing that for this season. It's going to be, we have used what's called progressive points. And in the description on each race, you can go in and you can see how that is. But that we have used progressive points on each season for ACC. So I'm using that this season too. So everyone, all the races have the same point system.
Okay.
I think that's much better. It wasn't really good, the other one.
Okay. Let me move over to the Facebook page. Who maintains the Facebook page, Jeremy?
Well, I work most of Facebook, but I see a couple of eSeniors collaborate as well.
I meant. You know what? I said Facebook, but I meant the web page. Is there much maintenance on that?
Oh, the web page. Yeah, I'm in charge of the web page. I'm constantly updating it, and that's thanks to Christer, because Christer makes it very simple with his graphics. When he actually the graphics you see when you register for a season. So I make sure the website is always up to date, and that's the best reference if you want to find out what's happening during the week race-wise. That's the best reference we have, actually.
Okay. Is that any of it automated? I know you do the race announcements every week. Is that automated, or is that you got to do that manually?
No, it's all manual.
Aha! So you're the guy doing lots of the work.
Yeah, I'm doing that on a daily basis. Yes,
okay, good.
As well as attending the server and making sure, except for today because we're all here today, but. I'm always there to make sure there's a race. The race starts at 2 p.m. EDT. Yeah,
most of us can do that restart once in a while. I do that for you. But LMU, LMU is something you have to manually start at the moment, right?
Yes. LMU is a different system. You have to operate when it's a championship. It's operated via SimGrid. Christer sets it up, and then it's pretty simple. Everything is launched from there. In the off season, it's working via race control, where it's the same process but outside of SimGrid. So I know there was a request, and maybe we'll discuss that later on for Le Mans circuit. So I was thinking next week we could run Le Mans. On Wednesday, Friday, and Sunday before the LMU season starts.
Okay. The last but not least, stewarding. Let's let Christer talk about that. How does stewarding work, Christer?
Yeah, the stewarding. It's not only me. But let's start from the beginning. When we started eSeniors, we actually. I was involved in that one too. I kind of wasn't the lead, but then we actually looked at every incident during a whole race, and we actually wrote up a commentary on each contact for the whole race, and that got really exhausting after a while when you have like 27 contacts in a race. But eventually, we've been paring that down. So the basics now is that we are looking at specifically lap 1. So we have a program that captures the timestamps for any contact. So that's a good guide, because it's hard to just look at the replay and kind of just try and chase the contacts. So we look at every incident on lap 1. So what I do, I summarize the contacts that have occurred during lap 1, and then we have several people that look at this. I want to have at least 3 people or more that look at this, and we can see if we can get some discussion and consensus. Sometimes it's very straightforward, and sometimes it's not. So, and there's also a couple of people outside the admin team that are helping out. So there's quite a few people that to draw on here. But the important thing for everyone to understand is there's not one judge here. There is several people. And then I'm the communicator, so I put the results into Discord, and you see that there. And then we also have a opportunity to appeal. Most likely, the appeal will not change anything, but you will get the explanation. I mean, we're happy to explain.
Plus, we often look at it again when somebody appeals. We do another.
Yeah, if it's something we need to really look at, because I mean sometimes we miss something, but when we look at an incident, we want to look at it from inside car 1, inside car 2, outside, different views, and so on. And
there's a lot of that back and forth, just to
yeah, exactly.
To make
So
sure that everybody's kind of comfortable with the process. It's not just okay, saw a crash, it's so and so's fault, we'll do a penalty and then move on. There's a lot of, it's almost like how they do on F1, where they're looking at every little motion and who went there and who was there, and was this person really ahead or not? And
and it's getting harder because everybody's racing better. Yeah.
But especially on the lap 1, you might say, well, we're not allowed to race, but this is lap 1, and I think the eSeniors ethos is that we want people that have practiced the whole damn week, taking the time to do that. We want you to be able to at least drive the first lap, and then the race spreads out a little bit and it's not so intense. So racing lap 1, just take it easy, think about the other drivers. Then racing can go on the other laps, because beyond lap 1 you can report if you have an incident that you really think needs to be reported. Otherwise, we always encourage people to DM the other ones instead of having a long string of texts in the discussion channel. So just to be civil. It's after all, it's a game, it's entertainment, but we want to be civil.
And most leagues look at lap 1.
Yeah.
Like SRA, CMS, us, we all scrutinize lap 1.
Chris.
I just want to add one last thing regarding stewarding. I believe that a lot of drivers don't realize how much work goes looking at an incident before penalties are applied. There's a lot of back and forth, like Dimitri said, but it's not taken lightly at all. It's really, and sometimes stewards, I'm not part of the steward, so it's a good thing I'm not, because most of the time I disagree with a lot of things. But what I want to say by this is that believe me when I say that there's a lot of arguments sometimes going in before penalties are applied. And regarding penalties, I think we're way too nice. I believe penalties should be a lot stricter and heavier, because I believe Mike mentioned we are entering season 18, that by now we should be disciplined enough to be able to pull out a first lap without incidents. And we have done it in a few races.
It's been really good. LMU racing, for some racing, has been really, really clean.
Yes.
I don't know if it's the drivers that are there for the LMU races, but
grid
it's
size.
been really nice.
Grid size too.
I do believe it is possible. I do believe that something happens when the green lights go, where some people lose it. They get too excited, or they don't pay attention to the surroundings. There's a lot of things going on. So, but I believe, and I've seen it before. And it will be nice. And usually, the start of a season is really bad, and it seems to quiet down as we go. But first race this season is going to be Monza. So we all know we all know that first chicane. So it will be good to be able to clear that one.
I think you have to mention it more often, Jeremy. I think you have to mention it during the driver interview or something.
A Monza is going to be great.
We need to make a T-shirt. We need to make it.
Don't say anything.
Maybe.
Yes. See what happens then.
I think we need to make a new T-shirt, eSeniors GT3, and something about lap 1 underneath. Okay, before we go,
there's racing on that one, but there's also being spatially aware, because I know when I race, I don't want to hit the guy that's near me, because then it ruins my race and his race. But I don't know. We just put our little horse blinds on and just drive like madmen, don't we? I don't know.
Yeah.
The whole point of the penalty system is to try to get people to understand that there are consequences to their actions, right? In a real race, the consequences, you destroyed your car, and if you do it more often, if you're a professional, you're going to get fired. That doesn't happen, in an amateur racing league, so there has to be some kind of consequence to bad actions.
Yeah.
That's the whole point of it. It's not really because we want, penalize people, and it'd be great if we can just let everybody race and not have any penalties at all.
Okay, that's
I believe somehow this that a lot of drivers wouldn't do the same if they were in a real car. They wouldn't.
If we were all paying for the vehicles, it wouldn't go on. But yeah, some people might have bigger wallets than others. But I know if I was racing real, I try to race this like I would a real car, because I can't afford to fix my real thing. So yeah. And don't do to others what you don't want done to yourself. That's what I always say.
On the chat, somebody did mention was Bruce and Chris mentioned looking at driver inputs. We do look at driver inputs during reviews a lot. Yeah, especially if it's close. That's exactly what we do. Can't see anything else. Okay,
a swear jar, $1 for every incident. That's a good idea there.
Swear jar. Yeah. Okay, before we're going to go on to discuss the what went into picking the tracks, but before that, I thought we'd talk a little bit about ACC Evo and LMU. Evo, I'll start. Evo certainly was a bust in terms of their release and allowing us to race stuff. Isn't it awful? It's going to be a game as opposed to a simulation. It looks like at this point.
Yeah, it looks too much arcade. And I see Mirj Pornoff here. He asked on the stream or chat what will be our future LMU or ACC. That's the interesting one, because ACC is not being maintained, and hopefully LMU gets better.
I like ACC Evo as well, because I had been playing that instead of LMU, and I can see ACC Evo in the future having a future. Because no one really got into LMU straight away, did they? Until it really got its packs launched, etc. I think we all write things off a little bit too soon, because nobody really fought for LMU until 4 or 5 months ago. So I think AC Evo will have a place.
Evo needs to come up with a proper
down the line. Yeah. At the moment it's a work in progress, but I think down the line, I think it's got potential. Ace.
But it's so you have to qualify it at first there to get a decent GT3 car. How are you finding the physics in Evo?
I don't mind them. I think some of the physics are slightly better than ACC. It's still very early days, I think. But yeah, I think in years' time, it might have a future.
Yeah, no.
With
I believe AC Evo on this fall will be coming out with an online multiplayer version. That's what I heard. So let's see. If they deliver. Let's see if they deliver. I don't know. Right now, LMU looks extremely good and strong, and here to compete with ACC. Unfortunately, I think they let down ACC somehow to favor the development of Evo. They must have a reason for that. I believe ACC could have benefited from some new dynamic. I don't know, some better reaction when two cars collide, for example. ACC is pretty radical.
Well,
LMU
ultimately, the
is
physics engine from AC
yeah,
Evo is going to
yeah,
go to ACC, so
yeah,
we're going to
yeah,
expect to see the same kind of driving behavior or racing
yeah.
behavior in ACC 2.0 or whatever they call it at the time, right? So
But-
hopefully that's going to be the case.
Yeah, the early release certainly seemed to lean towards the gaming side and road cars as opposed to racing cars. They didn't really get into the racing side that much. And you got to think that they're smart enough because ACC has such a long history that and following that they'll get us racing guys back into the fold at somehow, right? They know how to do it. That's for sure.
And also ACC is really the game that have all the tracks. So as long as LMU is not, they need to pump out more tracks too. So I think on the question ACC and LMU for eSeniors, I think those gonna live in parallel for the foreseeable future.
Yeah. Well,
otherwise we have to know LMU only have 8 tracks. So or 9.
LMU is only an adaptation of R Factor 2 as well, isn't it? So which has been around for years. So.
Well,
LMU is coming up with a major update in June.
Yeah. The good thing, I guess, is they're having this discussion. LMU is in the game, at least. You know what I mean? It wasn't a bust. That's the good thing.
Yeah. Should we talk about the Le Mans race?
Well, here I'm going to go before you hold on. I'm going to try and wrangle it. I'll put up the. Before we go there, let's just talk about the discussion why we had not why we had the ACC GT3 lineup. This was it, and maybe let's talk a little bit about how we picked the tracks. We kind of go while somebody else can talk about it. I didn't participate this time, but how do we go about picking tracks usually?
Yeah, I think these.
Oops.
We try to hit different tracks, different seasons. I know Thomas was the one that's he's the father of this track list, which I think is great. I love Nürburgring. But I don't know. We don't really have a process. We just think about.
Yeah.
Well, I think we try and cover off what we don't race the season before.
Yeah.
And then we add the different weather scenarios, day, night to day, rain, just to get the season to flow. We try not to have too many drastic changes race to race. So if we have the first race is just basic weather, the next race will be maybe night to day and so on. And then normally the last couple of races of the season, we try and keep just as the weather as stable as possible so that it doesn't affect guys' championships where guys don't want to race in the rain, on the last race of the season.
Which one is night? Which one is wet this year?
Yeah, Mount Panorama is going to be at night.
Oh.
Yes.
Yeah. I was hoping you weren't going to say wet.
On the same grid title.
Night and wet, yeah.
Night
and wet.
Which one's going to be wet?
I have to look.
I believe it's Nürburgring.
Okay. Maybe,
it's Nürburgring.
Yeah. Christian,
I believe so.
Christian,
it's noted on the same grid titles.
Okay.
So you see that there.
Okay,
What
good.
would Rebel Ring be like when it's wet as well? That'd be Rebel Ring. That'd be interesting wet, wouldn't it? That'd be good.
And I noticed we're breaking with tradition, not Mount Panorama or for at the end, or what was the other one we used to do? Spa. Yeah. Spa or Mount Panorama for the last one. All right, so that's that, and then let's flip over to the LMU. There we go. Although now we can talk about
Le Mans.
Le Mans.
Yeah, Le Mans versus Coda. You know, the issue. I mean, I like Le Mans is an outstanding track. No doubt about that. My only argument and the discussion we had, Krista and I, because Krista originally put Le Mans in the schedule, and and I'm the one who asked him to think it over, because I thought with only 20 cars on Le Mans, let's say 20 cars, it's going to be so spread out that it's not going to be very interesting to race a half hour or do a sprint. Doesn't make sense to do a sprint race on Le Mans, according to me, but maybe 50 minutes is a little more interesting, but still, I think that's
Yeah, is the multi-class race Le Mans or?
Now we have the same races on both. We might I mean, we can always reconsider that, I guess, and have Le Mans on the 50-minute race.
I mean, my argument for Le Mans is the game's called Le Mans, and
that's kind of what I'm going to.
Not in a calendar.
See, so one thing I was thinking is we could do Le Mans as the last race and do an hour race.
Just a straight race?
Bruce says 2.4 hours.
No, we could do an hour. That would be more sense, and then maybe run it during the mixed, because GT3, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't think we should do it on the Le Mans or LMU sprint. We should have Circuit of the Americas there, and then for the Friday multi-class, we have Le Mans in there.
Oh,
and
okay.
I thought it would be good first race, actually, because multi-class, you want to have a lot of space, and I think with such a long track, it might not be so intimidating with a lot of hypercars on top of you if you drive GT3. That's
it'd be good going through the Porsche curves with hypercars and GT3 cars, wouldn't it? That'd be quite exciting place to find cars.
Some of us participated in that first multi-class there this week. It wasn't so bad, was it?
Yeah, I missed it. How was it?
I passed a few guys in GT3, so I was happy. Even though I couldn't keep it on the track. I don't know why I couldn't keep my Porsche on the track this week, but did you race in it, Chris? No, you don't do.
No, I'm not
you don't
really.
do LMU.
I'm not.
Okay.
No.
So I was the only one that was there. No, it was pretty good, and I didn't see. I know I was listening on the stream and I was listening on the channel, and nobody was screaming at each other. That's for sure.
Yeah, Kevin, there is no short Le Mans track. The two versions is with or without the chicane on the long straight.
Yeah, it's Bugatti. Is it Bugatti? They call it. They call it Bugatti circuit? The short.
Something like that. Yeah. But the GT3 cars around the corners, that you really have to be careful, because the GT3 cars can make the corners a lot better than the LMUs can. If you're in the spot there. So it's going to be interesting on some tracks like Coda. I bet you the GT3s are going to go through the S's a lot better than the LMU cars. So it's going to be interesting to watch the.
But I think we just decided that we won't use Coda for the multi-class,
right. Okay.
so we won't have hypercars on there. We discuss it. We can nail it down, but my vote would be to do Le Mans on the multi-class, and keep Coda on the LMU sprint.
What does the public say?
The public has been very vocal on today.
Doing Le Mans.
Have they got a live poll up in the stream?
Yeah, there's 10. Yeah.
Yeah, everyone on the chat that wants to have Le Mans on the multi-class, raise your hand.
I'll be right back.
Okay.
We won't drop anything, Bruce, because we just there's only 9 tracks, and no one wants Coda on the
GT3.
on the multi-class. So
So we'll drop Coda and put Le Mans in. Just a question of early or late.
yeah.
So we're still the question with LMU is going to be we haven't tried pit stops much yet in terms of how they work. Not only they work all right, but how you strategize that. It's going to be interesting.
I noticed
Yeah,
that last night. So,
the difference there.
Sorry. Go on, Krista. Go on, sorry.
The difference there is that in ACC they fill up the car and change the tires at the same time, but in LMU they don't do that. They fill up the car and then they change the tires. So that's a little. So you lose less on ACC depending on how much you fill because they do it when you do the pit stop. So
How long's the LMU race? Because would you need to pit stop in the LMU race if?
well, I mean it's 50 minutes, so I would think you need a pit stop for sure.
For tires, you mean? You thinking for tires?
You don't. I don't know. Yes, I don't know. I think under 30 minutes, and I think that lasted about 50.
And also in LMU, the GT3 cars have some sort of an energy component.
Virtual energy. Yeah.
So, but I guess you just fill up and you don't have to say I want this much energy charged and then fuel. So I don't know. Just have to.
Jeremy, you were saying you were having trouble with tires too on LMU.
Yeah,
in the hypercar.
Yeah, it looks. I didn't practice the race, but I did a practice run for 50 minutes, and on Algarve, the right front tire would go down to less than 40% left towards the end. So you cannot enforce a pit stop with the server on LMU.
Oh, okay.
The way we do it with ACC, you can't. It's the game. The same way LMU has a very interesting thing is that if you pass another car outside the track, the game is going to ask you to give position back.
Yes, I
that
noticed
you
that.
gained.
Yeah.
You gained an illegal. So the game is good in that way. And I believe it's the game that's going to dictate the pit stop on a 15-minute
Can you
race.
stop saying game? It's, it's a
Simulation, yeah.
It's real life.
Simulator.
And we're athletes, right, Chris?
Absolutely. Well, yeah. I mean, don't know about that, but yeah. I can hold it for an hour. Is that an athlete?
That's pretty much it.
Oh, I don't forget.
Yeah, we see
Go ahead.
on the stream or on the text chat here. One comment is to have Le Mans 60 minutes, which is not a bad idea actually.
How would you do a
That's
grid
like a
though?
special race.
How do we? Is there any way of? Is it going to be random grid then? No.
No, I mean you do qualifying.
Well,
normal.
I thought you only
It's
had.
just that
I thought you only had 60 minutes for the server though.
But see, that's what I mentioned. I mentioned closing the LMU season with an hour Le Mans race.
But
I think
Jeremy, I thought you said you keep saying we only have an hour of the server, a 1 hour server. Can you get longer?
No. We don't have only an hour.
Oh, okay.
We can run the server a lot longer if we want.
Okay.
But I believe Le Mans should be minimum an hour.
Yeah, that sounds like a good idea. Yeah.
So maybe we can close the season. The thing is, it doesn't apply for the sprint, right? If we do that, maybe we can do an hour mixed and an hour GT3 to close the season, the LMU season. What do you think?
Yeah, so you do a full hour with only GT3, and you do a full hour with the mix as a season.
Yes.
Sure.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And then when the driver changes happens, we can do launch team events, I assume.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
That would be awesome.
And then we could do longer, like 2.5 hours, simulated 24 hours, do 2.4 hours with if it allows for the clock to do a 24-hour cycle. That'd be fun.
So Bruce says on the comment here, you have to have pit stops for Le Mans, which, you probably have to do that for performance, but like Jeremy says, there's nothing in there where you can force
That everybody
that you
has
have to have a pit stop,
Yeah.
which is probably LMU rules, right? I mean, they don't have like Formula One where you have to use 2 sets of tires. So I think they just try to really stay strict to what LMU is in the real world. Because in the real world, they don't force
That's
it.
why you see, so when you watch it, you see different teams with different strategies to work out. So some people take light fuel, start off the race, and then more heavier stints of fuel later
Yeah.
on. Some fuel long, don't they? So I suppose it's all strategy based.
I wonder if fuel.
Yeah,
wonder if fuel then tires is a rule also. Like you can.
Yeah, but as Bruce is mentioning, you can accelerate the fuel usage. He says during daily races he saw 200% fuel
Usage.
So you can, so you had usage, so you had to pit within 35 minutes. Yeah, that could be done. That could be done then. Maybe.
Don't manipulate reality.
Well, that's the problem. See, I'm like you, Krister. I like to.
I'm a purist.
I like to use real events. Now, if you start accelerating everything,
you use a calculator to calculate your fuel, and then you have to think about that. You use 200% more fuel. It's like,
yeah, that's
Next
it.
thing you know, we're going to have AI driving for us, right?
Yeah.
I'm waiting for AI stewarding. That's going to come.
Ah, there you go.
Yeah.
Mark my words. I'm going to be without a job.
I think
What
someone.
do you do when you disagree with the AI steward, though?
Yes, that's
You
it.
do it,
People are still going to complain.
You get deleted.
You get deleted, yeah. You get sent to the Matrix.
Yeah.
Okay. Anything else we need to? What are we? How long we been on here now? We've been on. I can't see actually.
Yeah, this has been fun.
Yeah, we should do
42
this more
minutes.
often. Yeah. No, we should do this more often.
Any questions from the
before I forget,
audience?
one guy that's missing is Bruce McKay Richard McKay. Richard McKay does the. He does the. What does he do?
Servers.
Server setup.
Servers,
It's
right.
for HC.
Sets the temperatures and that kind of stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, it takes care of the entry list as well.
Yeah.
And we're always communicating. And one thing about Bruce Hopkins is part of the stewards, and it does help a lot.
Good.
Yeah, I don't think he wanted you to know that.
Yeah, we shouldn't out the steward.
Well, you could send your address.
I've been doxed.
You could send,
Yeah,
you could
don't
send
dox
your
the steward.
you could send your banking information to on the stream.
Yeah. I have a PayPal account if we want to go that way. Pay your penalties straight to me. Actually, I got my first speeding ticket in Sweden ever. They have these speeding cameras. They used to have them in Texas, but people actually shot holes in them, so they took them down. And here in Sweden, I drove, and all of a sudden, I got this flash in my face, and now I got the letter in the mail with my picture on, zoomed in, in the car.
And the speed you're going at.
Yeah, and $200.
Oh, so they take your
Equivalent.
Oh, they know who you are. Yeah, they can get the driver.
Oh, yeah.
Here in Alberta, we used to have them, but they couldn't tell who the driver was. So
it was my picture, my
Wow.
driver's license picture, and then it was the zoomed-in picture from the car that was next to it, and says,
you know why it's zoomed in? In case your girlfriend's in the passenger side.
Yeah, just
The passenger side was blurred out. I had to send you the picture. It's awesome.
Oh, okay.
my wife was driving.
Yeah, exactly. You
Yeah.
can't say that here. Anyway, I digress.
Anything else where you want to talk? Any other questions on the stream, on the chat? Type very fast. John was saying something about 2 times fuel to force pit stop. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the way of doing it.
Hard enough figuring out fuel and LMU, you know.
But the fuel is part of the strategy, right?
Yeah,
I
exactly.
mean, we saw that. If you haven't watched the last part, the last 16 minutes in the Saturday race, where Jonathan Wood had an amazing strategy, he just went on and on and on. And when it was 16 minutes left, we thought he was crazy. He went in for a pit stop, but he came out and he was so fast and light. Unfortunately, he got a drive-through because he of the track limits.
Yeah.
But otherwise, I don't know what that would have happened. It was awesome. So watch the last 16 minutes. Very exciting.
Yeah, that was one of the best races of season 17. It was absolutely amazing.
Yeah, it was
Sorry,
great.
sorry, I start from the pits more often.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was fun.
Okay, maybe we'll shut her down then. That was fun to do it. I know a lot of people said in the stream there that or in the chat that nice to see everybody's faces. Yeah, it is pretty nice to see everybody's faces. Next,
Yeah, we had 15 people on.
again, like I keep saying on some of the streams, next thing we have to do is plan a eSeniors convention somewhere in the world. That'll be the next time.
Yes.
That'd be fun.
Halfway, Iceland.
At Krister's new house.
Yes.
We've got to dress up like Mario Kart races. as
Everyone
well.
can come here. It's no problem. I welcome everyone.
Get some Lego cars like
Yeah,
the
I'll
one
do
guys
Sweden.
did.
Yeah, I have my Lego cars up there.
Oh yeah, all those Lego ones, yeah.
Do the Lego F1s like they do in the actual F1 races now.
Yeah.
Yeah, those one. Yeah, that was great.
All right. Well, we'll shut her
Yeah.
down then. It's thanks for everybody
Okay.
for participating. Thanks for everybody on the chat with a question or two, and we'll see
Yeah,
you guys.
and see you season 8. Sign up now.
Yes.
Don't miss it.
18, season 18.
18.
Yes.
Did I say it? 18.
Yeah. All right. Bye for now.
All right.
Thank you, gentlemen.